Hey YouTube, Meef here. Welcome to episode 30 of our FTB's Continuum quick tips and tricks. This time we're going to go over a little bit of some Nether star farming. I guess you can't really call it farming, but we're going to pick up that first Nether star. And the reason we're doing that is specifically for this bastard, the ME controller. Outside of these rather outlandish time and RF usage, we gotta have a Nether star. So since in the last episode I set up a mob spawner, I was able to get some of this tainted soil shit. I forget what it's called. It's cursed earth now, rather than tainted soil. But I was able to get that up and running with this mob spawner, and as you can see here, there's a significant amount of built up mob essence, so I've actually been pumping that into here. One of the issues you're going to run into is, for Nether stars, is how in the hell are we going to get wither skeleton skulls? Well, the best way to do it is probably through a farm. But you got a couple options. So if you've been to the Nether, you're looking through dungeons, you should be able to pick those up. You can actually put beheading on a Tinker's Construct tool and do it that way. This is the better way to do it. I've got 48 wither skeleton skulls sitting in there, and I've really done nothing. The only thing I did was go to the Nether and capture wither skeleton. That's really all it took. So with that, like I said, I really haven't done a whole hell of a lot. And I picked up 48 of these bad boys, so I'm going to take 3 of them for right now. One thing I did want to mention, if you do notice that for some reason your tainted soil here isn't doing what it's supposed to, there seems to be a bug. And it seems to be a bug with loaded chunks. So what I've seen happen here is if I unload these claimed chunks in an area, it seems it'll run for maybe 2, 3, 4 hours. And then it'll dwindle to nothing. So your auto spawns will still work just fine, but your cursed earth or tainted soil, whatever the hell that shit is, if it stops, unload your chunk loaded areas, log out, log back in, re-chunk load them, everything should be fine. So if you look in this chest of shit here, I picked this up. This was just one session of being chunk loaded. You can see here I'm doing a little bit of sorting stuff very quickly. What's going on here is these items are whitelisted. Now this is a reinforced servo, so we're ignoring, we get some options here to do some ignoring, so it ignores the metadata and some dictionary stuff here, and the mod owner, we don't really have to worry about this shit. This is really what we're concerned about, so that this crap gets the hell out of here, because we don't want any of this shit. Wither dust, it could be handy. The ash, I guess, is handy for keeping mobs from spawning. I couldn't give a shit less about that crap right now. Probably going to kick myself in the ass for not picking it up, but whatever. Such is life. So once you've got some wither skulls, let's talk about how in the hell we're going to kill this this wither really, really easy. OG Minecrafters probably know this trick, and it's not really a trick, but Tinker's Construct just made it really easy. As you can see here, I've got an Electrum crossbow. And the way that works is this bad boy was set up with these 4 parts. So you're looking at tough tool rod, bow limb, tough binding, bowstring. My tough tool rod, I think ended up being, that was manilin, something like that. It had to be because it's cold-blooded. The bow limb, I used Electrum. And then the binding was paper for modifiers, and then the bowstring was just string. So, as you can see on this thing, so cold-blooded, shocking, writable, I added mending moss, and then I added a whole shitload of redstone to it. So this was my setup. It doesn't look like it does a whole hell of a lot, but I'll show you how that works with this wither. And for manillion bolts, this one is just wood and then manillion. But on here I added mending moss and a bunch of quartz for sharp. So you can see the accuracy here is 100%. So some people have asked, how in the hell I don't see a pattern Um, there's no pattern for bolts. You're right, there's not. It's all done with arrow shafts. So the way this works, make yourself a pattern for it, craft it out. So throw this shaft in here, grab some wood, end up making this wooden arrow shaft. Now you can make it out of other shit. I just used it because I wanted to get this done quick. Put this directly on your casting table. I've got this set for this, and pour it right on top. Looks kind of stupid. Looks like it doesn't really make any sense. But if you look in there, there you have a bolt core. So that's how this works. You can kind of see what's going on here. It's not really it's not the greatest, but it works for what it does. Get yourself some. I used feathers just because I really didn't care. This is really cheap material. You should have it. It shouldn't be a big deal to make this stuff. So keep that in mind. If you haven't used these things, the way it works, so right click on this, you got to pull it back. Once it makes that diagonal click noise, it's ready to go. So this thing is locked and loaded. Now, it doesn't have an inventory per se, but it uses durability. That's kind of why the mending moss is on there. But it works pretty damn well for what it does. So, before we go and set up a whole bunch of wither parts, a couple things you want to do before you do this. Pick up your full health. I probably should have actually brought some food with, which I don't have. Oh, better double check. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, we got kiwi smoothies coming out of our ears, so gotta do some of that. And noisily slurp on this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this underground. This is kind of what the OG Minecrafters have been doing for a long time, and I think we're gonna kind of follow suit here. So I'm just gonna run down here. And I'm gonna do this a ways away from the base. I don't want to be near it. Look at this asshole. You little fucker. Oh, I think I missed him. Fuck him. Okay. Now, I've already done this here. I could probably use this same path, but just to make things relatively simple here. I don't know if there's a mine shaft on the other side of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to count this out. So 1380 is kind of, what am I at here? 1380. Yep. So I'm going to go in here ways, and I'm only going to chop this out like this. And you really don't have to go too crazy. Let's get this fucking wrench out of here. Oh, look at that. Diamonds! And if you can kind of see my journey map here, you can see that I've kind of Swiss cheesed the shit out of the basement here. I've abused it. What do we got here? That looks close enough. I think we're in good shape. What did I go? About 35. 35. And I'm going to push this in a little bit further. Light this bad boy up. And let's go up. I'm going to do what you're not supposed to do. It's going to back up here one more. And we're going to do the same there. Okay. So, I got some soul sand here. So I'm going to start setting this up. And there we go. This isn't all that complicated. Oh, fucker. Of course that would do that. Bitch ass. And there we go. So we've got a wither going. What you want to do is back up. Make sure you got your crossbow cocked and locked and loaded. As soon as this bitch blows up, move up. Because he's going to take your torch out. It's kind of easy to throw one down. You don't have to make the ceiling as high, but you want to get on this bitch and start shooting him. Now, I'm hoping... He must have found a cavern. You want to keep on this guy. I missed. This is kind of a pain in the ass because he seems to have gotten straight above me. I was hoping that wasn't going to happen. Great. Here's where things get a little bit tricky. Since this asshole is straight above me, I'm going to have to kind of lead him out. He's an asshole. There we go. Hopefully he'll stay. There we go. You want to get him into melee mode. And you can see that he does that. He should be close. Usually about half is what it takes. There he goes. You can see his shield. Now he's going to start bumping towards you. And the easiest way to do this is have a good sword. And you should have this already. He's just going to keep pushing towards you. So this really is not all that difficult. You just want to keep making sure that you just keep hitting this son of a bitch. He might take off every once in a while. Just chase him back. You should have a jetpack. So just keep smoking him. He's really not... If you're armored, and you should be, like, this really isn't a fight. I mean, if he hits you once or twice, nah, big deal. But that's it. So, there you have it. There's another Nether star. And it's not all that complicated. That was kind of a pain in the ass. He got way higher than he should have. I guess that's just one of the quirks, I guess, of dealing with these fucking withers underground. It's just sometimes they get too high. I don't know if it's easy to manufacture these tunnels a little bit easier. You know, I don't know if this was part of a cave system or if that was part of the explosion. The initial explosion will kind of blow that stuff up and move it around, but usually, I don't know, last couple times I've done this, it's kept them relatively isolated in the same area. But what you want to do is shoot them with the crossbow, and you can see the crossbow, you know, 6 or 7 shots, it's no big deal. But then you really want him to chase you down this tunnel, and once you've got him stuck in here, typically he won't flight. You might have to chase him back. Just make sure you have your jetpack with, and that should be okay. So that's about it. If you kind of follow the Electrum paper, Electrum limbs, paper binding, just a regular string, and then a manilian tool rod, you can come up with the electrified crossbow there. The manilian bolt, you know, with regular feathers. This is the same setup. You know, you want mending moss on both, and then redstone on your crossbow and quartz on the bolt itself. And it'll let you farm those initial nether stars out relatively easy. That way you don't have to really worry about manufacturing shit tons of arrows and stuff like that. I mean, the bolts and stuff will make this relatively easy. So, with that being said, I think that's about it for this episode. I think the one after this one will go over the digital power upgrades for the EFAB setup. And then once we do that, we'll have to look at upgraded power cells, just because that ME controller itself, along with nether stars and a whole shitload of emeralds, it's going to cost a bunch of Lapotron crystals. So once we get that all set up, probably have to come up with some flux network stuff beforehand, because it's got infinite power throughput. And that actually requires 2000 RF per tick, which these lines right now, I don't think they'll sustain that. So I'm going to have to figure that out. So anyways, this is Meef Magnet. I'll talk to you later.